And we're live from the res with Two Dark Natives.
I'm Andre Dominguez and co-host Raul J. Chrisman.
In the house, man. How are you doing today?
Doing good. It's pretty warm, huh?
It's very warm. It's been that way this week. However, I gotta say, Southern California's had, comparison to our winter being kind of like a lot of rain and stuff, I thought it'd be really hot. And it's just kind of been but we're definitely feeling some of that heat right now. But it's been nice, which is a good thing, because it is the time of season when we're out there. It's gathering season, it's powwow season all across North America.
The powwow trail, huh?
The trail continues, the journey, from powwow to powwow, people living in in-house and out-house, and but no, they're all, from powwow to powwow, go camp out, be there for the weekend, meet new relatives, new friends, and start your journey to the next powwow. Maybe you win a little bit to help you with the journey. I know a lot of people are making jewelry and beadworks and things like that helps them get through. And, it's really the journey. Some people can do the trail for a short term, and then they have to go back to work or they have to go back home. And then later on in the trail, it'll pick back up. We live down here in Southern California, also known as the Southern Swing. We got Saquon Powwow coming up. There's Barona. There's Morongo, Saboba. I didn't say them in order, but there's a lot of powwows that I know the big name powwowers, they like to work their way to SoCal towards the end of the season. When it starts to get cold in the north, they're coming to San Diego where it's still good weather year round. And while that's happening, all of that stuff's happening, we here in SoCal, we're kind of doing the same thing, but a little bit different. We're on the gathering trail. Mm-hmm. Not the powwow trail, but definitely week to next week to the next week.
So what's the difference there? So you talk about powwow, the powwow swing or whatnot, the southern swing, and then you and I, people who don't know, are the gatherings, because, pretty much the same thing, no? Or what's the difference there?
I think, obviously it's, the powwow, you got the drums and the powwow dancing, and you're kind of representational of more of the plains tradition, going from the southern plains, Texas all the way up to, Alberta, Canada, and all of those areas in between. And, but the gathering is more of a local thing, for us here in SoCal. It's Kumyai and the Kuiyas and the Seño, and going out east to the Quechan, Kokopah, and up to the Mojave and Supai. We're all kind of in that same culture region, and so we're all sharing the bird song and dance. And so our gatherings is a chance for us to get together and do that. That's our social song and dance. What do you like better?
Personally, I like them both really well. I like them equally. But I do tend to go to more of the gatherings. When I was younger, powwow was a big thing because there was just a lot more people. And for me, coming from San Isabel, it was really smaller area. We didn't have too many kids growing up, just my cousins, immediate cousins. So going to the powwow when I was younger brought a lot of different people, tons of people. So we would go down to Barona powwow. I just remember this. Barona powwow being such a big powwow at the time, there would be tons of kids there, tons of people to meet, tons of different things you could do, and just many vendors everywhere. So it was a big deal for us to go to Barona powwow, spend the whole weekend there, and have a good time there. So it brought a lot of kids in groups and things like that. So I loved that environment a lot. But when I got older, I started doing bird more, started doing peon more, things like that. And then we started getting to know a lot of the locals around here. Those were our friends, and we'd come to meet, play peon, do bird, things like that. So now that I'm older, I like the gathering scene a lot more. It's a lot more, obviously local, but you get to see the people that you will normally interact with on a day-to-day.
Yeah. I think part of it for me is if you're going to hit the powwow circuit, it's a beautiful thing, but it's also a very widespread thing. Mm-hmm. You have to be willing and ready to travel across the country, out of state, and for me, I got 5 children, so it's kind of hard to make those journeys. I like to make a couple a year if I can, or a few. Definitely all the local ones I like to go to. But the gatherings is more representative of our own culture. So for me, it's always a priority to have my kids at those. So if I have to choose, I generally choose the gatherings. I kind of feel more at home there. That's just me personally. And I think part of that is just because it's so ingrained in us. I mean, it goes way back. Originally, the gatherings we have now, they had a real important purpose for our people. Our people used to live in these small groupings, and they lived in their clans, and they were surrounded by family all the time. And so, as we all know in our area, you don't hook up with your family, And we used to have the face tattoos for the girls, and we had markings and just to let people know what clan you were from, and so you wouldn't have the opportunity, you wouldn't even check out your cousins or anything like that, and you were surrounded by your family. And so a gathering was a great opportunity to bring a bunch of clans together, and then maybe love would be in the air. Young guy, young girl, be able to meet up, and their families meet together, and maybe create a marriage and unite some peoples together. And so I think that tradition obviously continues. But that was like a real need that our people had, and not just meeting with each other in the next village over or two villages over, but even the people surrounding us. So the next tribe to the north, or the tribe to the east or south, and intermarry and bring in a Kuya woman, or bring in a Kokopah woman, or like I have family that's Quetzan, and what happens is if they come to our community, then they speak our language and follow our practices, and they become one of us, and vice versa. And we lived that way for eons. And so that tradition of gathering is so important. Another thing that would happen a long time ago, as I was told, is it was a time for politically our leaders to get together and discuss things that need to be talked about, and to plan for the next years. It was a time for our to look at some of our medicine people and our spiritual people, and see where they're at. How's their health, and who are they going to choose to take over their practice when they're gone. And so there was a lot that went down at these gatherings, and they were like a week long. And so today I feel like we still do that. I go to a gathering, and I go to if I go to San Isabel, I know that there's San Isabel people. I want to go there and talk to those people. If I go to Campo, I want to, there's people in Campo I expect to see there. I want to go talk to those people, or Barona, or wherever. You go to that community and you want to see those guys, how have you been? It's been a while, and how's your family doing, and what's new, and and all of those things. Some of that's political, some of it's just being social, and then ultimately, it is a chance for the youth to get to know other youth. And I think it's real important nowadays, because we have been reservation minded. We're live from the res, but reality is all the area between our two reses, that's all tribal land too. That's our indigenous land. But we, for a long time, were put on these reservations. We couldn't leave. And you start to identify with that, and it's almost like you start to think of yourself different. For us, Kumeyaay, we could think of ourselves different as the next res over, yet we are all the same tribe. And I have cousins on a lot of these reservations. So for me, I say I'm from Viejas Res, Barren Long, but I got cousins in Sequana, I got cousins in Campo, Manzanita, I got cousins in San Isabel, obviously. And so I can't diss those reservations, because I have family there, I have roots there also. And the reality is that we all do. And so when you go to these gatherings, it starts to be like, yeah, we're all one people, and it's not so much my res, it's we're all together. Mm-hmm. And so I like the unity of the gatherings. The powwow, I don't know everybody there, so I don't feel that as much.
Yeah, because you have a lot of those people coming from different states. I know, like the bigger ones where they put up some good money, they'll have people traveling in and things like that. So I definitely understand when you're coming with that, and especially with the gatherings, they tend to. The ones that we have around here, they tend to treat you pretty well when you come in, and you understand that some places will, like MG, like we were just at MG the other day, just to sign up you got a food voucher. They did that to offer you that, hey, you came to our place, we're here to feed you, we're here to help you out, so here's a food voucher, and you sign up, you get a shirt saying that you were there, and then they help you with food and things like that. And I know San Isabel does the same thing. I believe at noon or something like that, they have their potluck or their food. So that community, even though it's getting pretty big, these places are getting bigger and bigger. I think Bolrona does the same thing. They're gathering, these places are getting bigger, but they're not there to necessarily sell. Yeah, we have vendors, things like that, but they want to bring that community together, want to bring those other tribes, because we all do know that we're all family. And I think that's why they do that, because they understand that. And then that powwow, like you said, I don't know too many people in the powwow. I'm guaranteed they do things among themselves like that. But for me, doing I'm a bird singer, piano player. I definitely feel that when I'm going to gatherings.
Yeah, and I think that the powwow definitely does have that family feel. You know, I mean, there's a lot of those guys. It's generational for them too.
Mm-hmm.
They do have their big network, and they take care of each other, and they come from the tradition of taking care of people coming in. But I think for us in SoCal, you know, you look at the roots of the powwow versus the roots of the gathering for us, and you know, it's kind of it's more intimate. You have a smaller crowd. Generally, you go to a gathering, you know everybody there, or if you don't know the person, you probably know somebody in their family. Down here in SoCal, the powwow scene is a little different than it is everywhere in the country, where a lot of people who attend the powwows here in SoCal, they don't come from, or they don't live in traditional communities. A lot of them are urban Indians. They're living in the city, and that is their opportunity to connect with other natives. It's their opportunity to come out and share some of their way that they were taught, or they're learning. A lot of people that are learning in our community, our San Diego community especially, to you know, embrace the powwow and learn the teachings through the powwow. But many of those people don't have parents that danced or grandparents that danced. Maybe, you know, 2 or 3 generations back they did, but they've been maybe transplanted because of military, or you know, this is maybe pre-ICWA days. They were removed for foster children or something. So there's been a disconnect, and so the powwow offers that opportunity to reconnect. Also, if you're non-native, like, and you want to know something more about Native peoples, generally it's the powwow people will go to. I feel like they're gonna go see the booths, eat some food. You know, so you go to a powwow there, and can I take a picture with you? You know, you get the MC here in San Diego, Mr. Randy Edmonds, Burt Reynolds. He'd always make the joke like, you know, quick, take out your camera. There's a white person, you know, because that's kind of what non-natives do to us. Like, oh my God, take out your camera. The Brady Bunch is like, look, mommy's a little Indian boy. You know, they're taking a picture of the fancy dancer back on the Brady Bunch, like way back in the day. But it's like people really do that. They've never seen a native, especially in regalia. You know, and they're just out there spending time with their family dancing and feeling that connection. But they want to capture that. So they take a picture, and it's really like on display. Very different than you go to a gathering. And I feel like a gathering, again, it's very intimate. It's generally the people of that community and who they invited in, and maybe the next couple res is over. You're not getting so many people from outside that culture coming in. Not only non-natives, but even other natives. You don't get a lot of natives that go to our traditional gatherings. I think another difference is also that you get people at the gathering that you kind of know for generations, and you know their life story a little bit. And so there is no posturing. You know, you get guys kind of coming through the gatherings, playing horseshoes and things like that. And you know them from outside the gathering. You know them, you may work with them, or you see them around the res, around the community, and it's just another time of seeing them. Whereas the powwow, you kind of only see them on the weekends, a lot of those people. And every area I know has their own networking, but you can kind of see a lot of weekend warriors out there. And that's kind of why they're there, You know, and so when they do show up at the powwow, you know, it's their spiritual moment. It's their moment to shine, to be native, to do all these things. And I think at the gathering, you don't see that. It's, you know, I don't want to disrespect anything, but I do feel like it's a little bit more authentic a lot of times, because you do know these people, and you know their parents usually, and you know their families, and the roots of the gathering. You know, for a long time in our area, it wasn't really called gatherings. There were fiestas. So there was the era in which our people were still drinking and partying a lot, and you would see it there at the gatherings, and that, you know, for a lot of people it was fun, you know, and so you still see traces of that. You know, you go to gatherings, you'll still see people showing up there to kind of party a little bit, you know. I mean, obviously we've gotten away a lot, you know, real far away from that, but you do see it sometimes. Like my shirt, I got Fiesta feet, you know, like that's a term comes right out of the gatherings, you know, or women showing up, no shoes, men too, or whatever, but they're just out there having a good time. It don't matter, you know, they're throwing up dust, you know, they're going to go dance, you know, they're going to have the old school res rock, they're going to listen to that, you know, maybe they're throwing drinks back. It wasn't about, it was really just about community coming together. You know, I would even say in a lot of ways more so than even the culture, because you've seen things like softball, horseshoes, those things on display, the rock music. It's only been like the last 20 years where when our culture's almost gone, we're going, whoa, hold on, let's pump the brakes and let's make these things focused, not about the party as much as the culture. And then you've seen this, you know, the kids starting to play peon. Let's get them going. Let's make peon become a big thing. The bird singing, instead of one or two old guys, Let's have a line and let's get these kids dancing. Let's get the young girls dancing. It's not just going to be a few older women dancing and showing how it's used to be done. But now this is how we do it. And more importantly, young kids come out and learn it because you're going to take it to the next generation. And so we've seen that in our lifetime. But you don't see that at the powwow. I mean, you don't really see any kind of party element there. It's kind of like we have our culture and we're here to represent that, our regalia and put it forward. And that's not what I see. I don't know. I feel more comfortable at a gathering, so I would probably choose a gathering over a powwow.
Yeah.
But
no, I definitely would too. I mean, coming back to, the powwows that I'm familiar with, you see those same heads, and it's not like they are going out of their way. Most of these people, like you said, hang out with each other outside of those terms of the gathering scene. It's not necessarily, like you said, coming back to, it's not all about the culture. It's that family, that group of people, that tribe. And typically around here, around our, Southern California, you said you have these families here, families there, families there. So when you have that gathering, especially these two back-to-back that we were just attending, they're neighboring tribes, that same people that were at that one gathering are going to be this one coming up this weekend. And it's that same family, that same vibe that we have. We're all going to come down and enjoy each other. We have the softball, we have the horseshoes, they have little kid games, and it's just a good time to bring everybody. It's more family and not, like you were talking about, people coming out from outside that typically don't know too much about the area. You want to go to some random person's house party, but doesn't mean that you're not, willing to invite these people in and showing them the ropes or anything. But like you said, he's like, hey, you see somebody coming in, with cameras and stuff, you're gonna be a little, tripped out, like when we're out in Saquon, where that guy, with his dog.
Oh yeah, yeah, you would get that at a powwow, right?
Yeah, you definitely get that at a powwow.
For our viewers, we go to Saquon Gathering, and there was a gentleman there, and he brought out his dog, and we're singing, and people are dancing and all this, and he felt it. He was feeling it, and I don't. It seems like everybody's cool with somebody feeling it. Natives aren't quick to be like, get out of here. I mean, maybe at the res party, but not like at a gathering or something like that. If you're feeling it, all right, dance. You got a good heart about it. I mean, it's generally the vibe I get from everybody.
Yeah.
So this guy was feeling it, man. He had his dog out there, and he had a little turtle rattle, which is not really of our culture area. We do use turtle rattles, but they're not made like that. Yeah. He probably bought that at maybe online, I don't know. But he was out there dancing with his dog, and everybody was there. It was like, what the heck is going on here? And so like you get people memeing that, you get people making jokes and laughing about it. I was like tripped out. Come to find out later on, they said the gentleman like asked to, he wanted to do the couples dance. He wanted to compete with his dog, and it's like, what the heck, man?
Yeah, you got to think about he's coming from, I don't know who he is. I don't know what he knows or whatnot, but you got to think about these kids and these people, they come to this gathering to do, competition, it's kind of like a powwow, right?
It's getting there. I mean, some people call it that.
But I'm saying, like, imagine a powwow, right? A powwow, somebody coming out there, signing up for fancy dancing, and then bringing his dog out there, We've got to give it some sort of respect.
Oh, I just imagine the twirls, the dog's feet in the air. Don't let go of the dog,
that's what he was trying to do.
PETA at the next powwow, like, protesting.
But, we're having competition.
Meanwhile, the next tribe over is eating those dogs. Just kidding. But they do.
Yeah, but he we're having a competition. There's more. There's an open time, right? We have open bird and everybody come out. This guy wanted to have a competition, like an actual competition. A paid deal. And so it's interesting. It's just an interesting vibe. But so that guy, he stuck out so much because of the fact it was a gathering. And it's not. If you come out to gatherings, by no means is someone going to be any type of way. We want to invite you to this more personal area in our lives, in our culture, and that's what we bring you there for the kids, for the family, and everybody else. But like you say, if you come at it in a good way, and I think most people will respect that, and they'll bring you in. As far as the powwows, I stopped really going to powwows, to be honest.
Yeah.
Most of them, I just don't go to them as often. Verona, I'll go for like a day, half a day, maybe at night, just to kind of see a couple people that I normally bump my head into, But most of the big ones around here, Saquon, I'll go to Saquon's powwow. And I was going to ask you about that. So what do you think about, because we have, I mean, powwow is a powwow, but say it's on a reservation like ours, a community reservation, Southern Cal, right? Some powwows have been blocking off like maybe an hour or two to have that gathering, to have, I mean, not a gathering, but to have that bird session or something like that, to represent their tribe, things like that. What do you think about something along those lines? Like what happens, or
Well, I remember when I was young going to powwows in San Diego, and I spoke his name earlier, but Mr. Edmonds and Vicky Gambala, some of these, they're older now. They're the San Diego Urban Indian Elders. I've known them my whole life, but they were organizers of a lot of these powwows early on in San Diego, and they wanted to have, they said it's traditional that you go to a powwow in a different area, that, you're going to see the people of that area do the powwow their style. We kind of generally say, well, there's southern powwows, there's northern powwows, but it's even more precise than that. If you go to a certain tribe, they have their ways a little different than maybe the next tribe over. And so you go there as a guest, you respect their ways, and then they put a little bit of their ways on display. And so throughout, powwow country, you do see that. You see different tribes display their culture in certain ways. You're always respectful that people are coming into your area to dance, and they made a lot of travel plans and their time, and you're inviting them into powwow. So you want to give them the respect to have the opportunity to do that, because that's what you put out, that's what you're advertising. Same time, they, as travelers, come in, have the respect to saying, well, I know I'm a guest here, so what you guys do, we're going to appreciate it, And so going back, they wanted to continue that tradition here in San Diego, and they said, well, we need to have the Kumeyaay come out and do something. And a lot of our people were like, well, I don't know if we want to go down to San Diego State, was the powwow at the time, or Balboa Park, or because there was a lot of people who were not our people. There wasn't many of our people down there.
yeah,
So I remember going down there, and my dad would sing, and we would all sing, and we kind of felt awkward being there, because we're like, these aren't our people, they're, some of them are native, but they're not we're not us, they're not Tipai or Ipai, so, but they're different tribes, so we would sing and usually a little here and there, and we went to the powwows in North County, like the Kauai would sing, and then we would go after them, and vice versa. And it kind of grew on me personally as a kid. It grew on me. I got used to doing that, and it was kind of nice to know that you're part of that native world also. We're not excluded from it. And it grew from that. But I can remember people being a little upset about it. Like, well, why are these guys singing during dinner break? Or they're taking too long. This is our powwow time. They're cutting into our powwow time. This is a powwow. And so I want to say it took a good 20 years before a lot of people started to welcome the idea that, hey, we are on Kumeyaay land and we should be respectful. If they want to sing 10 extra minutes, a half hour longer, then, we should really be celebrating each other and not feeling some way about that. The big powwows came in, in the early 90s, and by the time the late 90s came around, you had the Southern Swing developed. And every one of those powwows said we need to have a little bit of a bird portion to represent ourselves. And from that, you see the bird dance, the evening set. Usually they'll start it off on Friday they'll have some bird songs. Sunday they'll finish with it. But Saturday, like you're talking that chunk right before grand entry, powwow people coming in, I don't think they knew what they were seeing originally. But I tell you, if you talk, I went to White Shield, North Dakota to powwow out there last year, and I was walking around, and I had a shirt that said Bird Life. And someone said, hey, you must be from San Diego. I love your guys' songs. And it was just really cool to see someone that far away know that where I was from, just from a shirt, and to appreciate our songs. So I always hear that. Now I hear people, we love your songs. And, I've had invitations to go to Canada and sing, and I have family up there, so I do want to get up there at some point. And you're seeing our songs travel. When Standing Rock, that whole issue happened, you've seen all of our bird groups go up there, and sing some songs and offer some of our spirituality to be with them and to support them in the way we know how to do. And so you've seen that grow, and I think I think it's beautiful. I really like it. And the powwows that I do tend to go to are the ones that have good bird sessions.
yeah,
India, Morongo, Saquon's number one for me. These are powwows that are, they're rocking anyways, but then the bird session comes in, and it's cool because now you got like California culture there. You got dancers from all over and the big name drums and just everybody coming together, and there is no tug of war. It's like over time, you know. It's not from a place of feast or famine. It's not from a place of famine where there's not enough time and I want to shine. It's from a place of us feasting on each other's culture and truly appreciating each other and getting to know each other and to really share that native love with each other. And I like it because I like watching the powwow. You know, I've danced Northern Traditional on and off from, you know, since I was a kid. And I have an opportunity to MC powwows here and there. I'll take them. But, you know, obviously Bird is my life. Peon was my life. But I think here in SoCal, that's what makes our powwow so good. Dancers come in, they're waiting to hear that Bird song, you know, and when they're done powwow dancing, you see them go out and they'll play some bets on our Peon games because they have hand games too. Yeah. So they like to see our hand games. Same way as, you know, I went out to Fort Duquesne. I'm out there in Utah watching these dudes play their hand games, and I stayed up all night watching them, you know, and it was just cool because, you know, it's like our games, but they're different, you know, so we're so different, so geographically distant, but yet we're so similar, and it's just really empowering. And I know my kids got a lot out of watching them play their hand games that time, for sure.
Well, yeah, so, I mean, anybody who's around, you know, Southern Cal, definitely check out our powwows, but if you can, something smaller event, go to a gathering. Gatherings they're a ton of fun. You'll see our culture on display. Typically, you know, throughout the day, we'll do something. I mean, I enjoy it. I have a good time.
And there's benefits of both, man. There's, like you said, a lot of vendors now at both. You know, and a lot of our people like going to the powwow because sometimes you don't want to run into your cousin every day, you know? You want to see new people, new faces. And I think the powwow people are probably the same way. They come to our gatherings and they're like, hey, this is cool. It's a little bit different of a vibe, but they're both unique and they're both good. And for you non-natives out there, if you're kind of nervous about going to some of these things, you know, I will tell you this, for the most part, if you're respectful and you come in and you're observant, you know, you're gonna be celebrated. You'll be okay. We're not gonna kick you out or be mean to you or anything like that. It's not in our teachings to be that way. Yeah. You know, and Native Americans, that's every tribe you go to, we generally have those teachings of being welcoming. Yeah. That's what screwed us, man. Welcomed everybody in. They gave us disease. They killed us. They took our land. But hey, you know, we're still here smiling and we're still welcoming people in, man.
I don't know how many times, you know, I had people come up to me asking me about, oh, what does that mean? What is this? What is that? Yeah. Why do you guys do that? So, I mean, we're all here and we're willing to help. We're willing to let you know a little bit about our culture.
That's cool, man. Hey, I got to say this, though. My cousin called and said, hey, somebody wants to know, and this is, you know, they're really upset. They're like, their bird died. They wanted to know if one of us bird singers or dancers would wear it in memory of the bird. So with that, I didn't even know how to respond to that. I was like, I don't think anybody's gonna want to wear a dead bird.
I'll wear a dead bird.
You show up like Johnny Depp with a bird in your hair.
Yeah, just
I said that's more powwow than gathering. Yeah. But not to mock that lady. I mean, obviously it's like a member of her family, but I think it just shows that there's don't be afraid to get more knowledge. You know what I mean? Go out and you get a lot of knowledge online, get a lot of knowledge, YouTube it, whatever you got to do, you know, but ultimately you got to go be around natives if you're going to really learn it, you know, and just be kind, and people will share, man. I'm always down to share. You know, people are down to share and just say, this is our way. And thank you for giving us that respect, you know.
So final thought, powwow, gathering.
I think they're both very valuable. I think they're good. I love them both. The ones that I like the best are the ones I'm at. The ones I don't like are the ones that I miss, man. That's all I got.
Yeah, I like it.
Shout out to Saquon Powwow. Shout out to Indio Powwow.
Yes.
Shout out to
Morongo. I like Morongo's powwow.